welcome to this short little video that's a Giftalong 2018 update. I'm Sarah Shira, also known as Imagine Landscapes Online, and today I'm recording up in my bedroom because my kids are done their university exams and the house is full. They're baking and watching the holiday edition of Nailed It, and what that means is the lighting's different, the setting's different, and I'm up in the room that we have locked grumpy old cat into. She's not that grumpy, but we bought new kittens this year thinking she was lonely, and it turned out we were wrong and she's not adjusting super well. So we've got her set up with her own little penthouse, but what that means is that old cat is here and purring and demanding attention because we're not often in this room, except of course when we're sleeping. So I hope the purring, if it's audible, is awesome. Otherwise, here she is. This is Sushi. And I am not well versed at getting a cat onto a video, so you'll have to forgive me. So that's Sushi, and hopefully she'll settle down and just let me talk for a little while. Because what I want to do is I want to talk about the Indie Giftalong and a little bit of an update and some things that I think maybe you could still knit in time. So a little bit of a stats update. They are at their 1,100th finished object for the Giftalong this year. Now that's low, but that's because everyone's crafting in anticipation of the holidays, and then because you can enter to win up till like midnight on New Year's Eve, basically. People are waiting till they have time, crafting like mad now, and they'll be entering them later. So they're at 1,100 finished objects right now. And the finished object thread is not a chat thread, so it's just pictures. And so if you want to see that, that's really awesome. Last year, I'm looking at the stats. There's sort of a stats update thread in the Giftalong, and last year they finished 2,260 projects that were entered for prizes. So we'll see how we do this year. I'm hoping we get really high. A couple other interesting stats that are available. There are 10,798 new patterns that weren't in last year's event, because of course the sale is over, but every pattern that would be a non-free pattern listed for sale, either in a book. I got this wrong in my intro thing. It's not just patterns you pay for in Ravelry. It's also patterns in books or magazines and things like that. Something where the designers earned some money, are eligible for submitting your FOs, your finished objects, for a prize. So last year they also had 38 people who managed an Upadoo. That's where you finish an object in every one of the 8 category threads, like toys and home and baby and shawls and garment. So that's interesting. I also thought it was interesting. There are 349 designers from 30 countries and 6 continents. So that's pretty cool. I thought Canada was doing pretty good with their country representation. We have 42 designers, and then I looked down at the bottom of the list, US, and it was 178. So yeah, we've got some designing catch up to do, but we are also only about 38 million people living here. So I think we're doing pretty well. Okay, so what I want to do now is talk about some patterns that I've picked out that I think you could still get done in time and that are worth looking at. I have the designer's permission to use their photos because when you sign up for the Giftalong, that's one of the things you give, is you give permission for people to use your photos. So I'll be popping those in here, and let's get going on stuff you still have time for. The first pattern I'm going to talk about is Trail Mix. Trail Mix was designed by Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations, and these are fingerless mitts, but they're designed for kids. So the sizing on these goes from 6 months to 6 years, and they're knit in fingering weight, but you'd still have no problem whipping these out in time. They are a fantastic cabled set of fingerless mitts, and you only need 60 to 110 yards of fingering weight, so perfect for using up leftovers. So that's Trail Mix by Lisa Ross. Then there's a nice cuppa, and this is an ornament design by Mary, and I really love this because obviously, I don't know if you know this, but on the audio podcast with my sister, it comes across way clearer. I drink tea all the time. I probably drink something like 2 liters of tea a day. Some of it's black tea, some of it's herbal. My mugs are 2-cup mugs, 500 milliliters, and I really drink a lot of tea. It gets me through the day, it feels good on my throat, and it makes me feel like I'm taking time for myself and it's just really special. So these cup of tea and oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a teapot. There we go. The teapot ornaments are really fabulous. I knit these last year for the Giftalong and they were really fabulous. It's a really cute, clever pattern with one of the neat things is she's got multiple kinds of color work that you can use to kind of make the China pattern, but she also provides you with the graph paper so that you can sketch your own design out and add it to that. And again, that's really small. I think she recommends something like 87 yards for one of them. So that is the nice cuppa ornament pattern. Oh yeah, the teacup uses 20 yards for the main color and 12 yards for the other color. So yeah, this is definitely something if you want to attach to as a gift tag or as a gift. These ornaments are fabulous. A lot of kids actually are using them as play sets from what I can tell in the pictures. Then let's talk about the Pippi Latte doll, who was designed by the designer Irina Ferrer. And Pippi Longstocking, obviously one of the great heroines of children's literature, and this doll is so sweet. The face, the hair, the sweater, the different colored stockings. Pippi is fantastic. So that's the Pippi Latte doll. Uses 70 to 90 yards of DK. So not even a fingering weight yarn. Finished doll is approximately 7.5 inches tall, which is 19 centimeters, and says that it has helpful step-by-step photos. So that's pretty awesome. I love doing that with toys. I want to talk about the worsted Badland mitts. Now again, these are fingerless. Fingerless mitts are obviously going to be way faster to knit than mitts with a top, but it's really not that much more. Mitts are faster. Every time I go to knit mitts, I'm like, why are these so much faster than I think they're gonna be? There's something where my mind just forgets how simple they are. But these ones are knit in worsted weight with a really great all over texture pattern. And I like how the ribbing carries from the ribbing up and over onto the thumb in a nice way that kind of swoops. It just looks really attractive. I think guys would like these as well as women. So those are the worsted Badland mitts, and the designer on those is Catherine Folkerth. Because my husband's German, I always want to pronounce new names German, but I know that's not the way most people pronounce their names. Then let's talk about Inscribe. Inscribe is by Hunter Hammerson, and it is a teeny tiny tree ornament kind of thing, or you could tie them on presents, and they are tiny colorwork hats with the charming bit is the long string with the tassel that hangs off it. Oh, these are just so cute. So they are called Inscribe, and those are by Hunter Hammerson. Then the next pattern is the mini modern moccasins. These are super stylish slippers. I think teens would love this. Women would love this. I'm not so sure about the guys. I have pretty fashion forward guys in my life, but they're just not big slipper guys. Maybe that'll change over the years. But the modern mocks is, there's a collection, but the ones I'm looking at right now, these are knit in a bulky yarn, and they are kid-sized. So these are the mini ones, but they are really stylish, and what more can I say? They're attractive, they're speedy, and they look like the kind of things that people would love to throw on their feet and use to lace around in those awesome days after Christmas. The Primary Cowl by Stephanie Laughlin, also known as Telly B Knits Online, is a big, bulky, fabulous cabled cowl. Now she's got hers knit in the brightest yellow I think I've seen in a long time. Definitely one of those things that'll keep you safe even in the dusky parts of early winters or winter's early sunsets. But it uses Anzula Burley. It's a bulky weight yarn. It's like a one skein project from the looks of it, 115 to 225 yards, depending on whether you're knitting. Oh, there's a small, medium, and large size. So there's a bit of options for how tall you like your cowl. And talk about a high impact. This is definitely something that if you got someone who's a little more fashionable, the huge fat sculptural cables on this is definitely gonna be something that will satisfy those sorts of people on your gift list. And the last pattern I want to talk about is Kind. Kind is published by Fakennington, and she's got a whole series of bulky hats she just brought out, perfect for this time of year when we're trying to get hats and we're trying to get warm, and we're also trying to get gifts out really quickly. So this one uses super bulky yarn, and despite the fact that it uses super bulky yarn, it's attractive. A lot of super bulky things on hats just look really fat and thick, but Faye has done an amazing job. The note here in Kind says every one of the hats in the wrapped collection can be knit in 1 to 4 hours, and there's a size for everyone. So apparently this is a pretty amazing thing. It says there are 5 patterns in this ebook for $12 US. Might be something I look into. I did a really bad job of knitting gifts this year. I focused on getting my business back in shape after we moved and renovated this house. And I've just been working really hard, and I haven't been knitting for gifts as much this year, and I really feel the lack of it. I can whip out a few of these if I can find the yarn. Well, it's one of the things about living where there's no yarn store. I might be able to get this out of my stash, and I might not, so we'll have to see. But this hat is really attractive, and I love the way that the sort of the flower reminds me of a thistle. I don't think that's what it is, but there is something very floral about this pattern that she's got here. So that's Kind by Fakennington. So, Indie Giftalong, it's not over. You still have until the end of December to knit something for yourself. Maybe these are perfect gifts for you. Forget gift knitting. Maybe you're done gift knitting. I hope that you find something in this that makes you want to knit. And if you do and you're done before New Year's Eve, pop it in the FO thread, because there are over 2,000 prizes that you can win as part of the Indie Giftalong. And it's just a huge celebration. The last evening, watching the patterns go up, the projects go in, it's madness. There are so many people posting that last evening, even just the days leading up to it. It gets real exciting and just so many beautiful things to look at. So that's the Indie Giftalong, or the Indie Design Giftalong, that is part of Ravelry's awesomeness, where communities just come together and do fabulous things. I'd really like to say thank you to everyone who's excitedly knitting gnomes. It is fantastic that the 3 gnome patterns have been so awesomely received, and you guys are knitting gnomes and you're giving them fun names and fun backstories or little stories. It's been awesome watching those roll in, and I love that so many of you are using the Never Not Gnoming hashtag, because that's a hashtag I follow on Instagram, and so they're automatically coming up, and I can't even tell you how exciting it is to me to have my Instagram feed just flooded with your gnomes. Oh, it makes me so excited to go on Instagram these days. So from Natasha, Nancy, and Gnombledore, and me, thank you so much, and happy Indie Giftalong.